everybody, I am Johnny Taylor from Mastercast, and today I'm doing another in this style of video. Today I'm doing my MCU Iron Man armor suit ranking video thing in the style of Ace Creeper. Now I know that Ace Creeper is primarily a Doctor Who YouTuber, and I am going to try and get some Doctor Who content up to go along with this video as well, but this just seemed like the most appropriate kind of video to do in this style. I should mention it is raining fairly heavily right now, so if you do hear that throughout the video, I apologise for that. Also, I do have to give credit to Dalecium, I think is how you pronounce that, who did the music that you hopefully heard in the intro. If I did an intro, that I should have done an intro, I'll leave a link down to him. Go check them out. They do lots of fun Doctor Who music themes of their own, and it's all very, very good. So this video, as you can see, is a ranking of all the Iron Man armors in the MCU. Although it's not really, because I'm not including all of the armors in the House Party Protocol in Iron Man 3. This is just armors 1 to 7, and then from Mark 42 to now, I've also included all the War Machine armors and a couple of other ones, which we'll get to those when we get to them. Obviously, this does include Endgame spoilers, but I mean, you come on, there's no way you haven't seen Endgame by now. So without further ado, that's enough preamble, let's get into it. There's 25 on here, nice round number, so let's just get on with it. So in 25th spot is War Machine Mark II from Avengers Age of Ultron. Now, I should mention that I don't hate any of these armors on this list. I think they're all good in their own way, and this is a very nice looking Iron Man armor. But it's a War Machine armor, and to me, War Machine is very, very bulky. He's loads of weaponry. He's just bigger than Iron Man, and this to me just looks like grey Iron Man. It's still nice, but it's not War Machine enough for me, if that makes sense. This one, I did this on a preference revealer, just like, because I try and make these videos as close to, I'm trying to make these in the style of videos as close to the creators that I'm, kind of mimicking. So I did this on a preference revealer about 5 or 6 times, and this one and the number 1, so it was number 1 and number 25, the very two ends were the only ones that were the same every single time I did it. So yeah, this one just is my least favourite because as a War Machine armor, it's just not big enough. In 24th place, this one will probably be a little bit surprising to some people. It's a Mark 46 from Captain America Civil War. Now, this is a nice looking armor. I like the art character of this armor, and I think it looks very good in, I'm looking at an image of it here, and it does look very nice. In motion, it doesn't look nice. This to me is too smooth for an Iron Man armor, and there are, it's too sleek, and there are sleeker Iron Man armors later down the line, and higher up on this list, but there are kind of reasons for those being sleeker, such as nanotechnology and whatnot. This doesn't have any of those reasons, and so to me it just looks fake. I think this was also this was the first armor I think that really suffered from looking like CGI. I think originally the Iron Man armors did a really good job of blending practical with digital, but this one, to me, there are definitely times where you can tell it's not real, which I think just kind of detracts from the armor as a whole. Number 23, we've got the Mark IV from Iron Man 2. Listen, it's very nice, but it doesn't do enough to distinguish itself from either the Mark III or the Mark VI, and it's kind of both, but it's they're both good armors, but this is just sort of a bridge between them, and it's not unique enough to really distinguish itself. It's not bad per se, but it's just, some of the ones on the bottom, they just aren't unique enough to be pushed up higher. But yeah, Mark IV. Number 22 is the Mark 43 from Avengers: Age of Ultron. Again, a bit like the Mark IV. This one is I think it's exactly the same design as the Mark 42 from Iron Man 3, and it's kind of nicer, I suppose, but it's just a recolor of an old armor, and I think this one, maybe because of the way it was used on merchandising and stuff, this one to me looks the most kind of toy-ish, if that makes sense. Again, it is really nice, but it's another one where it's not different enough to other ones to justify it being higher. 21, War Machine Mark III from Captain America: Civil War. At the time, I thought this was the best War Machine armor that we got, and it's kind of a mix between the Mark I and the Mark II. I don't love it as much now, but it is still nice. It's kind of got like a beehive-y kind of look, and it is a really, really nice looking armor. It is more bulky, which I appreciate, but again, just not bulky enough. But I do think it is different enough to the Iron Man armor from Civil War that, it's pretty good. But now they're all good, so it's really just personal preference that's separating them. Number 20 is the Mark 45 from Avengers: Age of Ultron. Now, this one was the one that first suffered from the CGI problem, but I don't think it's suffered as badly as the Mark 46, because I don't know, there was a lot of CGI characters and stuff in Age of Ultron, so it was sort of more forgivable, whereas there wasn't in Civil War, I suppose. This one is, I think, as sleek as it should be without being like nanotechnology, like just as a suit of armor. I think this is as kind of sleek and refined as it should have gotten, and I think the Mark 46 was just a bit too sleek and form-fitting, that it kind of, obviously, I know Iron Man's not real, but there's a suspension of disbelief. You can believe in stuff to a certain extent, and this one almost was too unbelievable for me, but just about managed it. But then ones that came a little bit later maybe didn't. Number 19 is the Mark V from Iron Man 2. This one might be a little bit surprising as well, because a lot of people really like the Mark V. I don't really like the Mark V, but it is above some of the other ones because it is unique and it is different to the other ones. It has a more unique color scheme with the silver. The way the way he puts it on is unique and is like the most memorable moment from the entire film. I like the fact that it's not like indestructible as well. It's just a suitcase, so it's not, he goes up against Whiplash and his whole arm, basically the arm of the suit just like gets broken in his fight with Whiplash, because this fits in a suitcase, so of course it's not going to be the most durable armor ever, which I think when you get later down to, again, coming back to the Mark 46, it's very thin metal, but it's just as durable as some of the other suits, and I personally didn't really care for that much. But this one, although I personally don't really like it all that much, I do have to commend it for its, it is unique. Number 18 is the Mark 42 from Iron Man 3. My opinions on this have changed a little bit over the years. The gold colour is not like the usual gold colour, and it is a departure from the more traditional Iron Man look, but the Mark 42 has, like, the armour itself has a personality of its own, especially in the film. It's not infallible, it breaks all the time, it's kind of useless, it stands out. If you put them all next to each other, you'll notice that one because of its colour scheme. I don't have all that much to say. I do like Iron Man 3, and I like the fact that this suit is a bit rubbish and has this kind of, it has a personality of its own, and that's what I like about this one. At number 17, this is a concept art version of the Mark 46 from Captain America Civil War. Now, first of all, let me just explain why this is even here. This one is here because I had 24 armors and I wanted it to be 25 because I'm OCD like that. But this is also on here because it is such a nice armor, and admittedly when I first saw it I didn't really care for it, but I think this breathes a whole new life into the Mark 46, and just like those classic Iron Man colours and the way those colours are used together, it's really, really good. And sure, it never appeared on screen, but it's a really, really nice looking armor. It's a great kind of modernization of the classic Iron Man design, and I think the Mark 46, I think, although it is a little bit too sleek in motion, I think that is on partly because of the CGI, but I think the way, I think it's just a lot of red, and it's kind of a very flat red, and that is, I think, the reason why it doesn't really work for me, whereas this, absolutely, it works a lot better. It's not the best of the best, and I can't, I can only put it so high because it didn't appear on screen, but I think it is, I think this is a lot better than what we actually got. Also, Ace Creeper himself put Misty's TARDIS in his TARDIS rankings, and that never showed up on screen, so I feel totally justified in putting this on here. Number 16 is the War Machine Mark 7 from Avengers Endgame. So we've got the first of the Endgame armors. Now, if I remember rightly from making these images, which I make, the way I've done this is very odd. I've made all the images that you've been seeing throughout this video a week or two ago, but I'm actually recording this now for reasons, and the image I'm looking at is not the same image you're looking at, but I believe the image you should be looking at is the one where he's got Rocket Raccoon on his shoulder, although whether or not you can actually see that. But if you have seen Endgame, which you should have done, you'll know that in the movie this armor does not look like this. It is kind of red and white and blue. It's like Iron Patriot colours. This one, from what I remember, obviously, there aren't any images of it online, really. I can only go from what I remember from seeing it in Endgame. This one looks kind of the most toyish. I know I said that the Mark 43 looked toyish, but this one in the movie looked very toyish, and there have been a lot of toys of it, but they've all been in this like grey colour scheme because you know, up until the movie came out, everyone thought it was, even the trailers thought it was grey. The image you've got there is from the trailer, and it's grey, and it looks amazing in that shot. When I first saw that shot in the trailer, apart from the fact that, you know, it had Rocket Raccoon on his shoulder, which is awesome, it's a really cool looking War Machine armor. And I think the colour scheme they went with in the movie, it kind of ruins it a little bit. And also the fact that there aren't any proper real images of it from the film, other than like concept images and toy images. The little image in the middle, that I think is a toy image. You know, so there's just not enough. I can't really say too much about this because there's not proper images of it out there, but I like it. Its physical design, you know, it's a very bulky War Machine armor, which I really do like, but the colour scheme kind of lets it down, and it does look a little bit too much like a toy, I think. Number 15, another War Machine. This is War Machine Mark 6, also from Avengers Endgame. This one is kind of an angular looking War Machine, and is sort of similar in to the Mark 3 in terms of it being bulky, but not quite bulky enough. It's a very nice looking War Machine armor, but I think it doesn't really kind of stand out if you put it next to all the other War Machine armors. Maybe, I don't really know what I'm saying, I'll be honest. But no, this is a very nice armor, and there's very much kind of a combination of the War Machine armors that have come before it, but I don't really have much to say about this. It's good. That's, you know, I think it looked fine in the film, but there are better War Machine armors than this. So, yeah. Number 14 is the Mark II from Iron Man and Iron Man 2. Just look at it. It looks badass. Yes, it does become the Mark III, which, yes, is higher on this list. Because it is just a silver Iron Man. But a lot of what makes the Mark III work, I think, is in its fundamental, just the physical design of it. Which, obviously, this is the same physical design, and it's really, really cool. I also really like the fact that this becomes the basis for War Machine. I think that's also very cool. It's just kind of, you know, it's polished, but it's also kind of very much a prototype, and, you know, it's simple, and it's really effective, and I like the fact that it came back for Iron Man 2. Yeah, it's just really, really cool, you know. Number 13 is the Mark 6 from Iron Man 2 and the Avengers, although primarily Iron Man 2, this was kind of the big selling point armor of Iron Man 2. It's got a triangle in the middle, so that's why it's here. Again, it's that point of being unique and being different, which this armor totally nails. I mean, it doesn't nail that much, you know, it's only number 13, but I do think I've never really been that big of a fan of the triangle, really, but I can't deny that it looks cool. It also continues what worked from the previous armors, and it, you know, it gives a sense of franchise continuity because it comes back in the Avengers, and it's using the Avengers until it's broken by the helicarrier rotor thing. You know, this was back in the days when they didn't have to bring in a new armor for every movie, or at least they didn't do that with no explanation. You know, like there's a reason that he had the Mark IV, because the Mark III got totally broken, and there's a reason he gets the Mark 7 because the Mark 6 gets totally broken. But why does he get the Mark 46 or the Mark 47 or the Mark 50? Why? There's no explanation for that. And you know, this one, and also there's a story around why, you know, the creation of the arc reactor for this one. But yeah, it's fine. It's fine. Number 12 is the Mark 47 from Spider-Man Homecoming. Now, you may be thinking, why have you put the Mark 46 so low? Then you put a version of the Mark 46 that never even showed up in the films higher than that. And then this, even higher than that, almost in the top 10, more or less. But then you've been banging on about them not being original and just, copying, being recolors of previous armors. That seems very hypocritical, and maybe it is. But this one is as high as it is because it's based off the Ultimate Armor, I believe. And if you've seen the Ultimate Armor, you've seen the Ultimate Armor, and as far as I'm concerned, the Ultimate Armor looks atrocious. It has really weird proportions. The colors don't match. It's visually horrible. This armor manages to take something that looked horrendous in the comics and makes it look really, really cool. The silver is great. The way they use the silver with the red and even kept the gold really works. It doesn't detract from, the colors don't clash, and it, takes an old armor that, again, the Mark 46 didn't work for me because of the way the colors on it were used, and how much of a certain color was used. There was a lot of red on that one. There's a good balance between the colors, and it's just really, really cool looking. And it made something that was bad to good. So it's got to be up here. Number 11, just missing out on the top 10, is the Rescue Armor from Avengers Endgame. This is nothing like the Rescue Armor in the comics. That is red and silver. I don't have a problem with that because we've got enough red Iron Man suits in the MCU. And also, one thing I noticed, in the first Iron Man, the dress Pepper wears is more or less the same kind of purpley blue colour as the armour, and I think there's some gold in it as well. So I think, I don't know, but I think this armour, the colour scheme of this armour is intentionally supposed to be the same colour as that dress from that night in the first Iron Man, which is just really, really cool. It's also, it's different enough in, like, the faceplate is more kind of rounded, it's not as angular. It's just really, really cool, and it's nice to see that Pepper get her own armor and to finally, to actually have rescue. It doesn't, when Gwyneth Paltrow leaked that image of her in the armor on social media, whenever it was, it looked kind of odd, but this doesn't. This looks really, really good. It's a nice partner for the Iron Man Mark 85, which, we've not come to yet, but we'll get to it. It's really, really nice, and, I'm glad that we've got it in the MCU. I don't think we ever really need to see it again, but, yeah, it's a nice, unique colour scheme. There's no other armours like it. It's really, really nice, yeah. Coming into the top 10, number 10, we have the Hulkbuster Mark 1 from Avengers Age of Ultron. Why is it this here? Because it's the Hulkbuster. Do I really need to explain more than that? Do you remember when this showed up in the trailer for Age of Ultron? Everyone lost their minds. Do you remember in Iron Man 3 when Igor came crashing through and everyone went, "It's the Hulkbuster"? And then the trailer for this film came out and we were like, oh, now that's the Hulkbuster. It's got a really great fight scene with the Hulk. It's got a real sense of weight to it. I can't not put the Hulkbuster in the top 10. I just can't. It's the Hulkbuster. It's cool. It shouldn't be his default armor, because that's dumb. It's too big. but it's awesome, and you know, I think the comic Hulkbuster was fine, you know, it looked alright, but this just looks badass. This looks so badass. So I mean, of course it's in the top 10. Number 9 is the Iron Patriot armor from Iron Man 3. Now, again, we've got another recolor of the War Machine Mark II. Although it's weird, in Iron Man 3 there was, you know, merchandising and there were toys and stuff of War Machine Mark II from Iron Man 3, but it never showed up in the film, and it's basically the same as. Did I say War Machine Mark III? They had War Machine in Iron Man 3, but it never actually showed up in the film, and the War Machine Mark II armor you see in Avengers Age of Ultron is basically the same. There might be some slight differences, but you know, I'm not going to put it on. They're exactly the same, more or less. This, I don't mind it being kind of sleeker and not as heavyweight, because it's the Iron Patriot. And it looks really cool. I think I prefer the mix of colours on this than the comic Iron Patriot suit. And it's just, I mean, look at it, it's a blue Iron Man. Why would you complain about that? It's awesome. This works with this kind of physical body shape, you know, kind of build of the armor, but it doesn't work for War Machine, which is why the War Machine Mark II was down at the bottom of the list. But this is really, really cool, so it's up here. Number 8 is the Iron Man Mark 50 from Avengers Infinity War. When I first saw this, I did not really like it because it was too sleek. It's nanotech, so there's a reason for that, and I have grown to like it more. I think it is an aesthetically pleasing design. It is a very powerful Iron Man armor, you know, it can do a lot more than previous armors, and I think also because, you know, when Infinity War was coming out, we all thought Iron Man might die, and this would have been a nice armor to go out on, but it's not the best armor you could have gone out on. This is a very, very nice looking suit of armor. It is, you know, it's just really nice and sleek, and it's really good to look at. It's got great. I don't even know what I'm saying. I'm just rambling at this point. I mean, you can't really. It is just personal preference. You know, it's preference for all of these because they're all really, really good. But yeah, this one is it's very nice. Number 7, War Machine Mark IV from Avengers Infinity War. This is a bulky War Machine. It is heavy duty. It has a lot of weapons, and it is showing them off. And also, it's got like this kind of camo print on it, which is it's really cool. And doesn't show up on any of the other War Machine armors, I don't think. And it's just awesome. It provides a lot of firepower in the Battle of Wakanda. In the film, I don't even know what to. But this thing looks like a war. This looks like a war machine. You know what I mean? This thing looks like it means business. This isn't like I'm War Machine, but I'm also one of the Avengers, so I have to look nice for the public. This looks like I've got a lot of weapons and I will blow you up if I need to. What am I even saying? Moving on. Number 6 is the Hulkbuster Mark II. I don't know why this is as high as it is, but it is. I don't know, because this is sort of too sleek, and I've had problems with sleek armors, but this just looks nice to me. This looks so cool. I think because it's bigger, I have less of a problem with it, but I don't know, man. I just really like it. I can't explain it. This probably shouldn't be as high as it is, but it is because I love it. So that's what you get. You get a nice, I like it, and it's here. It's just my opinion in it. It's really nice. It's really nice. Number 5 is the Mark 85 from Avengers Endgame. This is the best armor that he could have gone out on. It is technologically advanced, very aesthetically pleasing. It's not too bulky, but it's not too sleek, and it's got the design, it's got the colour scheme of the original comic Iron Man. I mean, what is there to not love about this? It is beautiful, and also, even though it is kind of, I believe it is nanotech, it doesn't kind of dissolve over the body, do you know what I mean? It still is kind of segmented, and it's really, really cool. And I'm glad we got an armor like this, with this colour scheme, especially for Iron Man's final appearance. I think it's absolutely great. So, yeah. But it's not my favourite. Number 4 is Iron Man Mark 1. This thing is not, doesn't look particularly nice, but it was built in a cave with a box of straps. That's what you gotta remember. And also, have you seen the original comic book Iron Man? This pays tribute to that, whilst also making it look not goofy. It's also got a flamethrower on it, and that makes it very cool. It has a real sense of weight and power to it, and it's just really, really cool. Look at it, I just think this was a really cool way of getting that kind of original comic design into the films and it not looking dumb. But I am struggling for things to say at this point, so I'm just going to move on to number 3, War Machine Mark 1 from Iron Man 2. Because look at it, look at how bulky it is. This has never been beaten for me, in terms of War Machine armors. We've never had a War Machine armor better than this. It is powerful, it is heavy duty, it is mean looking. It is just, I think it's probably the most comic book kind of accurate looking War Machine. I don't know, but I really do like it, I really, really do, so I don't know what else to say here. This and my number 2 kept swapping in terms of which one was going to get number 2 and which one was going to get number 3, but I think it's right that this one is not number 2, because my number 2 spot is Mark 7 from the Avengers and Iron Man 3. It does show up in Iron Man 3 as well. I think this is what I think of when I think of Iron Man. I think the added silver bits are really good. It's the way I don't know what it is about this one, but it's really, really good. I think it's probably one of the best designed Iron Man suits. I mean, it's number 2, so what do you want me to say? It is really cool. It's what I think of when I think of Iron Man, MCU Iron Man. I suppose. It's, and for a long time, I did think that this was the best MCU Iron Man armor, but ultimately, it's just not as good as number 1, the Mark III from Iron Man. This thing is incredible. It is beautiful. It is like the best interpretation of comic book to film as they could have done. You know, it's the best adaptation. I don't think you could have designed it in live action better than this. For your first time especially, it's the way it looks in the film, the way it moves, it's got a sense of reality and verisimilitude to it. Fancy word for you there, Google that. I don't think it's ever been beat. Just like I think the first War Machine armor's ever been beat. You know, I think the more recent Iron Man armors, just to me at least, they are a bit too fake. They're cool and all, you know, they are really cool, but they're just a little bit too fake. These ones feel more real, they feel more practical, and that's why I like them. And this, you know, is just great. It just is. So that's why it's my number 1. So yeah, that is it. That is my list, my ranking of all the Iron Man armors in the MCU, and one that's just a concept art armor. Tell me how wrong I was to include that in the comments, and leave your own rankings. You don't have to do all of them. You can just do some of the Iron Man ones, or whatever your favorite, your top 5 or top 10 or something. But let me know. I'll be interested to see. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and you like this video and you want to see more. I mean, you're not going to see more videos like this. This is a one-off, that's the whole point. But if you like the start, check out some of the other ones if you like it. Check out all the social media links, which will be in the description. If you haven't watched any of Base Creepers content, and I don't know why you've watched this video really, but if you haven't, go check him out because he's really cool. Again, go check out Dalecium for that very cool music in the intro and outro, probably, if I do an outro. I don't even know, I've not made it yet. All those important links will be in the description. Leave this video a like, give us a comment, all that good stuff. But other than that, I will see you all next time. Have a very good day, I suppose. That sounded very formal, didn't it? Have a nice time. Have a good, enjoy yourself. Bye bye.